Hi everyone. Today we are going to be creating a kindness card inspired by the art of Romero Britto. He is one of my favorite artists to talk about. He is living and working in New York City today. He's originally from Brazil. And his goal with artwork is to bring more joy and happiness into the world. So that's kind of his reason for making art. Which is perfect for making kindness cards. And he has such a cool style. You can see in his style here, when we look at his paintings that are in this story about being happy, that he has thick black outlines, always kind of around his shapes and his designs. He also uses lots of bright, vibrant colors, and he adds lots and lots of pattern to his artwork. So we're gonna be doing some of those things in ours today. Now, when you get started, since we're making a card, you're gonna wanna take your paper, and this is just like a computer paper here. I'm using something called cardstock, so it's a little bit thicker, but copy paper works fine too. But you're gonna fold that in half and try and line up that edge really well, and then crease the fold so that you're making your card. And we're gonna do it so that it opens this direction. And then you're going to also need some markers, and you're gonna need a pencil. Those things are gonna help you with your artwork. All right, so when I'm using my pencil, it's really only for the first step. I basically want to create my original letters before I create the bubble letters. So obviously in this one I've used the word smile. You want to kind of probably keep your word a little bit smaller. So for this one I'm going to do joy. So a word, you want to think of a word that's like a positive word, a happy word, an inspiring word, but a shorter version word. We don't want a word that's like 10 letters long. So I'll go ahead and do joy here. So I want to make my letters nice and big. Don't leave too much space between the letters either. All right, so there, I've written my letters. I did it really light because I need to be able to erase it. Now I'm gonna grab my black marker, and I am gonna make the bubble effect. Now, if you're worried about doing this in marker first, you can do it in pencil and then trace it. That's up to you. I wanna try and use the side of the marker so I get a really thick line, and I'm just gonna make that bubble effect, the bubble letter, around my letters. Now, it's okay for the letters to go off the edge. It's also okay for them to overlap. So when I look at my O here, some of it is going to be behind the J, and that's a good thing. That's actually something that we see in Romero Britto's artwork as well. And then same thing with the Y. Some of it is going to go behind the O, and that's okay. All right, so there, now I've outlined. So now I want to go back and get that original pencil line out of the way. That's why I did it nice and light. And I want to do a dividing line once I'm done with this. So in my smile, I don't know if you can find the line there. It is a wavy line, and it kind of cuts through the letters mostly in the middle. So it starts here, and then it kind of comes around, and then it dips down and goes across. So you can decide where you want that letter to be, but it's only, line, but it's only inside the letters. So I'm gonna do joy. I'm gonna come across from the top, and I'm going to go across and then hop over to the other side of the O, and then back up the Y. If you want to do more than one of those, maybe I do one down here too, you can do more than one of them, but it's only inside the letters. All right, so there we go. Now we are going to come up with some patterns. So we want to find some Romero Britto patterns. He uses stripes a lot, he uses polka dots a lot, flowers, crisscross lines. I call this confetti, swirls. All those different kinds of patterns are types of patterns that you could use. So when I do the patterns, I'm just gonna use the tip of the marker so that the black line is a little bit more thin. So up here in the Y, I am gonna do some polka dots, and some of them are gonna go off the edge. So maybe it's only half a polka dot, because that's all I can fit in that space. I think over here in the O, I'm gonna do some stripes. And you can use the same pattern more than once. So if you have like a favorite pattern, I really like stripes a lot, you can do it in more than one place. It's also okay to leave a couple of spaces without patterns, because some of his spaces in his pictures don't have a pattern. Not all of them are there. I think I'm gonna do this really cool pattern. It's like 2 lines and then some dots. So I'm gonna do the 2-line part first, and then I'm gonna put some dots in there. I think I'm gonna add a couple more. I'm gonna leave this space empty, leave that space empty. I think I'm gonna do a pattern down here and leave this space empty. So I'm gonna do some swirls down here. Make kind of a couple looking like they're off the edge. And then I'm gonna do one more pattern, I think right here. Let's see, I think I will add some small polka dots. Okay, so once you've got your patterns drawn on, then it is time to color. So when you're coloring the patterns, you want to think about maybe using the lighter and darker version of the same color. You can see that a lot in his artwork. So here we have red and pink. Yellow and orange are close to each other in the color wheel, as are red and orange. Over here we have light purple and dark purple. So if you have a lot of markers, kind of think about using those lighter and darker combinations, or just opposite colors, things that are going to stand out against each other. Like we have kind of like a peach and then a purple here that you could think about doing. So it's okay to use the same color more than once. So if maybe I want like a yellow space up here, try and use the side of the marker when you're coloring, and be careful near the black because it will pick it up. So yellow's kind of the worst for that. It tends to look really greenish if you pick up a lot of the black color. So then maybe I use that yellow again, but I use it over here around my polka dots. So you can use the same color more than one time. Just be careful near those black lines. And I'm having to use the tip over here because it's a smaller space. So when it's a smaller space, I can't fit the side of the marker on there. And then, you know, I might go back and decide to do orange inside the polka dots in this space. All right, so then our goal is to color in our patterns and our solid spaces as well. So make sure you're coloring in those solid colored spaces. And we're just working inside the letters. We're not doing anything outside the letters. Although in some of his artworks, he does also do the background, but we're focused on the letters here today. And then once you've got your word finished for the cover of your card, think about who you might want to give it to, and then you can put a special message inside for that person. All right, I hope you have fun. Enjoy.